Ever since Souls-like games existed, people have been making videos showcasing their talent and skill by defeating bosses in crazy ways. Whether it's fighting a boss with level 0 character, new game plus 7, or using a torch for a weapon, it wouldn't be too far off to say that these challenges are an iconic part of Souls games now. But a core part of these videos is that taking no hits from the boss is a given part of the challenge. But it got me wondering, do people actually know how this challenge is done? When you think about it, defeating a boss without getting hit is simple. You just have to get good at fighting them to the point where you don't get hit until they are defeated. But the get good part is obviously easier said than done. I always see these amazing videos from the Souls community fighting bosses without getting hit, and it never fails to impress me. And after perfecting a couple of bosses myself, I appreciate them even more. So in this video, I'm going to show the steps on how you can no-hit bosses. And I'm going to be using the Inner Consort mod for example because it's one of my latest no-hits and it took me 54 hours to do a successful no-hit run. And as you can see from the information on Nexus Mods, he has a lot of new moves and phases to make it more challenging. And honestly, I could talk about this boss for at least an hour because he is insane and probably even harder than Unalloyed Malenia, another modded boss I did, because he has 4 phases, crazy AoE attacks, tight dodge windows, and he can heal himself. But I wanted a challenge, and since I knew the creator, I decided to try and no-hit him. And before we get started with the steps, I'd like to thank the sponsor of this video, GamerSupps. GamerSupps is a company that specializes in making 0-calorie, sugar-free energy drinks that keep you focused and energized from your gaming. So, if you want to cut back on the sugar and caffeine out of your body while gaming, GamerSupps has a lot of flavors to choose from that's quick and easy to make at home. They're constantly making new flavors and themes for their drinks, so I recommend checking them out on their website and using my code LMSH or the link below to get a discount when you're checking out. Alright, and let's get back to how to no-hit a Souls boss. Okay, so unfortunately, a part of defeating bosses is that you are going to die a lot, and even more so for modded bosses. This step of the process is going to take the most out of your time and dedication, but it is important because this is when you're learning the boss's attack patterns, which is crucial for the no-hit run. And in this particular mod, Consort Radahn has been altered to have more moves and changes to his existing attacks, so even though I have mastered his base game form, this step still took me tens of hours until I could defeat him for the first time. This Consort Radahn also has 4 phases, technically, and will heal during the last phase. Now, after fighting the boss for many hours, you finally defeat them for the first time. You probably still take a hit here and there and might need to heal at this stage, but hey, progress is progress. By this step, you know most of the boss's attack patterns and timings, and you feel confident that you can beat them again. For my modded Consort Radahn, his first phase was actually not that bad. Everything was pretty much the same except for his blood phase and more AoE attacks, but I figured out how far he could reach within a couple tries. This mod also required a lot of jumping as he had Godfrey stomps that could cover the entire area. I think the most trouble I had was trying to get the timing down in his 4th phase transition when he goes up into the sky and starts raining down meteors before he himself lands down in an explosion. The mod creator made it so that uneven timings the meteors would crash down, and if you didn't time it right, you would get caught up in it, which was really frustrating. I think this move cost me about 40 tries. In his 4th phase, difficulty spikes up where any mistakes can kill you, so for the first few times I actually got to his last phase, I would die almost instantly. I would say that Inner Consort Radahn's 4th phase was the leading factor to my deaths, because his light beam attacks that followed every swing were now quadrupled in every sense, and if you were staggered even once, you were most certainly dead. And in my modded Consort Radahn run, this step took me around 40 hours to do, so it was a huge relief when I defeated him for the first time. This is where 99% of players will stop, but for the 1% of players that want the extra challenge, we go on to the next step. So, after defeating the boss, it now comes to fine-tune the fight until you can beat them without taking a single hit. Depending on how patient you are, this step can be the most frustrating one to do out of all the steps. If you ever fought a boss where you could dodge all of their attacks, but that one move always manages to hit you no matter what, Inner Consort Radahn had these light beams in the 2nd phase that would always hit me no matter what I did. It wasn't until hours of practice and research later that I found a way to perfectly dodge everything in this one insane 30-second non-stop attack combo and keep practicing to consistently dodge it. There's not much to say about this step because it's a lot of repetition, and the true challenge comes up next when it's time to record your actual no-hit run. Okay, so at this point, you are confident in your skills to defeat the boss without taking a single hit. So, it's time to finally record a successful no-hit run and upload it. But this step is probably going to be the most frustrating part because anything that can go wrong usually does happen for some reason. Whenever I boot up my recording application and start to record my no-hit attempts, I suddenly get hit by moves I practiced 100 times over, and what should have taken only a few minutes turns into a 10-hour session. And this step is probably going to make you want to yank your hair out due to the number of times you get close to defeating the boss until you get hit. Also, this is more of a PSA to any future challenge runners from my own experience, but please make sure that your recording application is actually recording the gameplay as well as the sound. In one of my recordings, I was fighting a boss for hours until I finally got the perfect run, and when I went to check up on the footage, it turned out that the sound wasn't being recorded, and it took me another hour or two to finally get another no-hit run. Fun fact, while I was trying to record my run with Interconsole Radahn, the meteors that fell down during his last phase transition actually have hitboxes, and I got hit by one of them. But after 54 hours and more than 600 deaths, I was finally able to defeat him and recorded the whole fight. I fought a lot of bosses over the years and even mastered a couple of them where I can no-hit them consistently, but it's still amazing to see challenge runners fighting these bosses without taking a single hit. I've always wondered how the behind the scenes look like for these modded boss runs, and after beating one, I think it's really impressive how much these players dedicate themselves to the art of perfecting a boss. It's not for everyone definitely, and some of these modded bosses made me want to yank out my hair, especially during the last step, but it is satisfying to know that with enough tenacity, you can overcome them. I hope this video showed you guys some of the stuff that happens on the no-hit boss runs and how much work is done behind it. Obviously, not everyone will go through the same thing, and I'm sure others have different tactics and ways, but I just want to share how I practice my no-hit runs. It does take a lot of time and dedication to make these kind of videos, and it's also hard to choose which one to attempt because some of them are just designed for pure torture and no fun. But I think if one does catch my eye, I will attempt it again. So, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys later.